Hi, my name's Mary Jane and I'm a normal Aussie mum.
Get the fuck out of here! Men's can't get some milk on his face. Down the Parliament is happening. Get out of there. Burn down the Parliament. They're going to have to evacuate as well, right? They have to evacuate. The fire alarm will go off. Hey, win that fire alarm!
Stand up and be counted. Stand up and be counted. Away! Stand up and be counted. Stand up.
The UN Special Rapporteur, United Nations official, is condemning Australia's controversial intervention in remote Aboriginal communities. James Anaya calls the measures discriminatory and a result of entrenched racism. The UN Special Rapporteur on Indigenous people made the findings after a 12-day visit to Australia. He visited Indigenous communities and held talks with the Australian government. He says it is clear the entrenched racism of the past remains and the ongoing intervention in communities in the Northern Territory continues discrimination against Aborigines. He's appealing for more efforts to be made to change the current situation.
But they have persuaded us that we are bastards and we are not. Because if we were, I'll tell you what, Dan Andrews, Scott Morrison, they'll be fucking dead. If they thought if we were what they are telling us we are, there wouldn't be one fucking politician alive in this country. Not one fucking judge, not one fucking general, air marshal or admiral or fucking bureaucrat. They would already be fucking dead. And they've been trying to tell us to expand on that theme. And forgive me for just shifting in a high gear and going at 12,000 RPM on my 1100 Kawasaki. They would be dead, but they're not. And you know why? Because we're decent. And that's why I've been telling everybody we will win this through non-violent non-cooperation. Whilst my instinct, my trained instinct is to squeeze a trigger. I'm not
No, that's a pleasure was ours, mate. Thanks very much, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Over now.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye for now.
Mary Jane, the floor is yours.
No, it doesn't matter. Look, I just want to say thank you so much. And what I love to see is that there are, like, we've got Gabriella, who's, I don't know, like about 2.5 or something, and then the rest of us who are, and everyone in between. And everybody's just got such a voice. We've all got our own voice, and we all resonate with different people. So there is no wrong thing to say. I've known about vaccines for 20 years, but come April, I had to make that choice. Do I stick my head above? Like, I'd flown under the radar because I live in Canberra and used to work for the public service. And, you know, this is a heavily MK Ultra town and everybody believes everything the government tells them. And I just said no. And luckily I'm in a position that I could actually, now I'm independent, sold my business last year, quit the public service 10 years ago. So I just went, look, this is my fight. And I think someone else said it, that Autie, was it, said that I just feel that this is what I have been bred to do, is not quite the right terminology. That comes from something else. But all the skills that I've learned along the way have will put me in good stead for this. So my speciality is dumbing things right down to find one thing. And I think someone else mentioned that. Just find one thing.
In-demand sex workshop called The Joys of Orgasm.
But as Dane was collecting fans, 62-year-old Gary faced more detractors.
In 2012, he announced plans to launch a series of education initiatives aimed at preteens and teenagers.
In exchange for a $50,000 donation to the Ricky Williams Youth Education Charity, Gary got to host an educational event at a high school in Houston. His lecture encouraged kids to know what they know and taught them techniques to manipulate their teachers to get better grades.
Suddenly, Texans and the local media were asking if Access Consciousness was a cult targeting children. The recording about children's sexiness from 2007 resurfaced. Accusations of sex cult shenanigans soon followed. And while that aspect was likely untrue, they still had good reason to be suspicious of Gary's intentions.
It's possible Gary didn't decide to pivot to targeting teenagers on a whim. As a master manipulator, he understood that teens were particularly susceptible to Access's method of thought reform. According to the results of a study commissioned by the Program for International Student Assessment, only 14% of American students ages 13 to 17 are able to deal with concepts that are abstract or counterintuitive, and establish distinctions between fact and opinion based on implicit cues pertaining to the content or source of the information.
Children make easy targets for Gary's brand of abstract, counterintuitive psychobabble. If he could hook them while they're young, he'd recruit a customer for life.